Cassin. I look after product and strategy for Vela Trading Technologies. What is Vela Trading Technologies? Well, that's what we're going to get into here. Vela is a mid-tier technology company. And what do? We deliver feed handlers and market access gateways for the electronic trading community. So all the information that Larry just talked about, I hope his predictions are true, right? That the bulge brackets are going to start making more money, that the high-frequency trading shops are going to be able to make more money. But my purpose of being up here is actually to talk a little bit about branding. So who in the audience knows electronic trading? Just give me a quick show of hands. Okay. How many of you guys have ever heard of SR Labs? Larry, of course, knows SR Labs. How about Wombat Technologies? Larry again. So the reason I bring those two up is they were some of the first, I'll call them software companies to deliver electronic trading out to the larger marketplace. Now, we're a software provider, so we're not making markets or making trades. We're supplying the information for those algos and smart order routers to be able to execute those trades. Those two companies were highly competitive through 1997 when Wombat was formed, and in 2007 when SR Labs was formed. Those two companies went head-to-head. It was a very, very aggressive marketplace where one would get pitted off of the other. And then, lo and behold, in 2014, SR Labs acquired Wombat. Wombat, at the time, was part of NYSE Technologies, and they were brought in to actually help build out their electronic trading. So as that was spun out, we had two organizations that were brought together. So what I'm going to talk about today is a little bit about how that brand and that shift and that merger, bringing two companies that are very, very similar but very different philosophies, brought them together. So I'll back up a second. I'll give you a little bit of my background. So I started in this industry, like many of you, in 1994. Graduated college, didn't know what I wanted to do. Wound up at a small technology company that was delivering real-time quotes, terminals, for brokers and traders. It's called ILX Systems. I spent many years there on the phones getting beat up. Where does the spread this look like this? What's the price? What's the volume? How do I adjust my chart? Everything you can think of. I progressed my career, and as a couple of folks have said, right, you want to be able to stay on the cutting edge of the technology. So because this was a newer piece of technology out in the marketplace, I found myself growing through different roles within the organization, finding my way through into sales, obviously, into product management, and into strategy. I leveraged that into an opportunity at Capital IQ. Many of you may know Capital IQ is a robust investment banking tool, and where I helped them build out some real-time terminals to help grow that business into the senior banker suite. Anyway, long story short, I met Jen, our CEO, about 9 months ago, and she said, "Look, we're going through a transition. We've just rebranded our company. We have these two organizations that we're bringing together. You've done this before at both Thomson Financial and at S&P. You understand the technology. Why don't you come on board and help us out?" So I joined about 9 months ago and have started to help her bring this brand together, bring this brand out to the marketplace. It's been challenging, but we've seen the wins of it. So today I'm actually going to talk about three things. When is it time to rebrand? Why is it important to convey a clear and consistent message when rebranding? And most importantly for a lot of you just kind of starting out and getting out there is how your corporate brand can intertwine with your personal brand. So I'll come back to the SR acquisition. So the SR acquisition of Wombat Technologies in 2014 was really two very different cultures. The challenge that the leadership team had at Vela was the style of both organizations, the operating rhythm, the maturity of those organizations. There was a lot of differences. Wombat was really known as a steady technology company. It was really known more for its data coverage, its managed services, and it was very process-oriented. SR Labs, on the other hand, was much nimbler. It was really much more of a startup. It was very technology-led and focused. It was, let's get the stuff done now. Less process, but the clients liked that because it was iterative. obviously a culture clash. You have one with big process, one with let's get it done. Additionally, the struggles that we had leading up to why it was time to rebrand, the marketplace was getting very confused by what was happening with the organization. There's two technologies, both of which they had pitted off of themselves for many years. What does this mean for me? There was a lot of risk. There was a lot of worrying in the marketplace saying, all right, well, are you guys going to be SR? Are you guys going to be Wombat? Which one's it going to be? They're little different technologies. So clearly, we had something to overcome here. So the clear signal from both internal and from the external organization, external clients, I should say, was a clear signal we need to reset our goals and values as an organization. So our CEO, our leadership team, decided to pivot in June of 2016. And although just a name change, right, we gave our clients and employees something new to identify and rally behind. It started the process of getting our clients back on side, I will say. And the teams, the technology teams and the strategy teams and the product teams and the dev teams, started relying on each other for best of breed versus an us versus them. So it was the time for us to pivot, and we moved ourselves. We realized that without it, we would confuse the marketplace. So why is it important to convey a clear and consistent message? Well, coming off that little story about the integration or the merger of the two, prior to that, our story was muddled in the marketplace, and I bet you if I ask Larry, he'll tell you the same story. Some of the teams would refer to themselves as Wombat. Some of them would refer to them as SR. Not only did this cause confusion, but it also, it also put forward a lot of extra work. Managing two feed handlers, managing two market access gateways, managing two sets of technologies. But it also did something that was probably even more detrimental, which is it opened the door for a lot of our competitors to step in. People were saying, well, if you don't know if you're SR or Wombat, why don't I bring someone else in that has a consistent story? So very, very important that we had a clear and consistent message out into the marketplace. So once we identified what we needed to do, right, we had to have new goals, values, and reset. And the new brand started to take shape. We've spent a lot of time over the last year making sure that people understood who we were as a technology company, as a software company, and that we're one company. Our story changed internally. We now all talked about Vela feed handlers, Vela market access gateways, Vela platforms. It gave a continuity to our organization, and it also gave continuity out to the marketplace. As we deal with these global bulge brackets, these high-frequency trading shops, they don't want risk. They don't want to know that you're going to go one way or another. Once the message is clear that you're going to go with one technology, for right or wrong, they feel a lot better. They're settled down. So our goal was singular, become the best independent trading technology firm, helping technology business decision makers bring efficiency, simplicity to their trading infrastructure. And I will say the market reacted very positively to this. We've won a couple of awards over the last year. We've won a couple of very large deals at a couple of large bulge banks. And we continue to invest today in our technology, our people, and our platforms. So much so that we've been so successful with this that we've actually started to expand how we're going to deliver it to the market with some acquisitions. So the last bit that I'll leave you with here is how can corporate brand intertwine with a personal brand? Now this is more of a personal note just for you guys to think about. When I started out, there wasn't LinkedIn, there wasn't Facebook, there wasn't any fun social media. So your personal brand was built by your relationships, as we've heard up here before. But today, it's very, very different. Your personal brand becomes very intertwined with who you become as a corporate officer. So as many of you may not realize it, maybe you do, I hope you do, but your brand is being crafted each day that you post something on social media or on LinkedIn, or I guess that is social media. And as your career progresses, more and more of the personal brand, your values, your interests, your likes, your dislikes, become intertwined with what happens in your corporate brand. As a hiring manager, and I hire a lot of people, right, one of the first bits of research I can do on a candidate is through social media. I'm sure you all know this, but it's really important that become, focused on what you're actually posting. Aside from CVs and references, the first place I'll go is social media. It tells me a lot about a person. Will they be a good corporate fit? Just by what they're posting on LinkedIn. Are they really interested in the industry that we're working in? Or is it just something that they're trying to get a job? Thirdly, what are they reading? It sounds innocuous, but you can tell a lot by what people are posting on Facebook and LinkedIn about the types of books and things that they're reading. And I've found, and a few of the other folks here would probably back me up on this, that most people's corporate brands are pretty closely aligned to their personal brands that you find on social media. Now, I'm not saying all of this to scare you. I have an antidote which I can share with you at the break about my brother who graduated from college I guess 4 years ago. He had a lot of stuff on Facebook that I said, you got to take this stuff down. You're going to go in for interviews and have conversations, and this is not where you want to be on your personal brand. So I'll leave you with this. I ask you to think about your brand and promote your pieces that are most important to you. Stay focused on your personal, professional goals, and always think about the audience when posting. A quote that I like to tell my kids about branding, I won't use it as a branding when I talk to my 12 and 13-year-old, but your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room, something that Jeff Bezos puts out there. So aside from being honored to be be able to speak to all of you with such a distinguished panel here, I want to wish you the best of luck in your career journey. Happy to talk through a lot more detail on branding and such if you so wish. You guys can reach me on LinkedIn or on email. So thank you. Appreciate your time.